Real Virginia is proudly produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau. This year, we are celebrating a century of serving Virginians. Visit our website at vafb.com.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce the wonderful local products we enjoy, brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. This week we're in Carroll County in beautiful Southwest Virginia, where the Teague family raises beef cattle and grass. We'll learn more about virtual fencing here later in the episode, but first, here's what's coming up in this week's show. From the Farm takes us to Southwest Virginia, where ag innovation meets sustainability. Chef Tammy has a delicious combo that will make your summer cookout sizzle. And Mike Voyak unpacks the rich agricultural heritage of James City County.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
It's a ritual almost now. I'll say a quick prayer before I go to bed. Right after that, I'll check my phone to see my cows are where they're supposed to be.
I'm Elijah Griles, and I grew up on my family's farm in Central Virginia. Join me to discover the people and stories of Virginia agriculture from the farm. If you think about fencing, you probably think about fence post and barbed wire. But what if farmers could move their herd with a click of a button on their phone? Let's meet some Southwest Virginia cattle producers who are doing just that with virtual fencing. I am here with Deidre Tigg. Could you start by introducing us to your farm and telling us a little bit about where we are right now?
Welcome to Carroll County, Virginia. I'm Deidre Tigg. My husband Alex Tigg and I run Blue Ridge Genetics. So we're standing on a farm, our actually first farm that we just purchased less than a year ago.
What makes this landscape well suited for raising beef cattle?
First off, if you haven't ever been to Southwest Virginia, it's beautiful. We're in the Blue Ridge Mountains. This land is really suited for beef cattle and grazing beef cattle.
Why is having so much grass important for raising beef cattle?
If we're anything, we're grass farmers and we're using the cows to manage our grass.
I know that farming is not easy, or else everyone would do it, right? What are some of the challenges that you've encountered in this particular year?
It's been extremely dry. This is probably one of the driest winters and springs that I remember in my lifetime. It's been a little bit challenging just to make sure that we have enough grass to keep these girls behind us fed.
When I look out at these pastures, I actually see a lot of grass. And tell me a little bit about something new that you're doing that has helped you be able to still have a lot of grass even though it's dry.
You'll probably notice behind us that these girls have these big orange things hanging on their neck, and that's actually virtual fencing collars. If you think about your dog in your yard, maybe you have a buried line or something, you let it out, it has a collar on. So same principle, but we're applying it for the first time, kind of in this region, I think, to cattle. We can sit at home on our phones and draw a paddock or a fence, if you will, and say, okay, well, you can graze here, but you can't cross that virtual fence and graze over here.
What made you want to employ this type of technology?
We are really excited about using this technology because when we first purchased the farm, we were looking at it, trying to figure out how we can get the most out of our pastures here. And one thing that we were lacking was really the infrastructure, the fencing infrastructure. This technology allows us to really make those animals graze where we want them to graze and keep them out of areas that we may not want them to be in. There's a lot of flexibility.
What are some of the biggest successes? I know you've just started doing this that you've seen so far. What gets you excited about this project?
One of the biggest benefits that I think that we've seen with the drought that we've had, we've got a ton of grass that when you look around at other farmers in the area, they don't really have that much grass, right? We're currently rotating on this farm and allowing the pastures to rest. Our goal with this technology is to help my husband and I be better stewards of this land. We want to protect the sensitive areas like the water areas, even the trees in the forest. And we also want to protect the ground and keep ground cover with grass at all time to protect those microorganisms that you can't see that's in the soil.
We talked with Deidre about the farming side of this, but another important piece of this project, of this virtual fencing project, is Extension's role. And I am with Kevin Sperlin of Virginia Cooperative Extension. And what exactly has Extension's role been in this virtual fencing project?
Yeah, this was an exciting opportunity for us to bring a technology out to the farms. And we actually were able to get some grant money to assist in implementation.
How does this contribute to the future of the cattle industry?
The technology really is flexible, and it addresses a big need. Following Hurricane Helene, one of the biggest issues we had was so much damage to our fence infrastructure. So this technology gave us the opportunity to try out a different method to protect those waterways, to allow us to manage grazing, to move cattle where we wanted the cattle to go through a pasture without having all of the physical infrastructure, the actual physical fences.
We're visiting Deidre's farm today. Tell me about kind of what your impression has been thus far with the technology.
Seeing the pastures in a severe drought situation and seeing how much grass is here because they have excluded animals with this technology and allowed this pasture to rest. The evidence is clearly here.
Is it really as easy as the click of a button, or is there still a lot of hard work?
It is easy as a click of a button for the virtual collars. Now, it's still a lot of hard work. It was a little bit of trial and error of getting them to work with us and figuring out how they interacted with the virtual fence and how we need to interact with the virtual fence.
We've traveled farther into Southwest Virginia, and we are now in Grayson County, and I am with Doug Cox. Could you start by introducing yourself?
I'm the owner-operator of what we call the Cox Cattle Company here. The farm has been in the family for about 225 years, and I'm the 9th generation farmer on this farm.
Wow, so there's a lot of history
Very
that's
much
happened
so.
right here.
Very much so.
I've noticed the collars that you have on your cattle. Tell me about what those are for and how you heard about this project.
It's almost like having a portable electric fence. And I jumped at the opportunity because, first off, as farmers, especially in today's world, if we don't innovate, we'll die. And in my case, a one-man operation, this was absolutely, I saw as a multiplier for me as a farmer. The second thing was the situational awareness it provides for your herd. It's an incredible peace of mind for me to be able to wake up in the morning, roll over and look at my phone and know that my herd is where they're supposed to be.
How has this improved your ability to manage your cattle?
Because of the nature of the terrain, interior fences to build smaller paddocks are difficult. What the virtual fence does, it allows me to take a paddock of this size, break it down into smaller components. Like I've divided this one into thirds, and then I can control the herd as they graze, monitor the forage levels, and before it's grazed to the point that it's going to hurt the grass, I can migrate them to the next one, and then I can move them around the farm. Given this year's drought conditions, it was divine intervention for me because it's really given me peace of mind that way as well, that I'll be able to make sure I have forage for my cattle.
How will this technology help you be more resilient and be more prepared in future storms or just other challenges that you face in the agricultural world?
If I'd had the system after Helene, I wouldn't have gone through the stress of trying to find my cattle. I had 6 cows and 3 calves, and it took me 6 days to recover all of them and get them back. This isn't something that's a new idea, it's just a different way of doing it. The Irish use rock walls. The Swiss put bells on their cows to track them. And this is just a technological advancement of that. It does give you a peace of mind to be able to just randomly check to make sure things are as they should be.
"2026 marks the International Year of the Woman Farmer. To celebrate, Real Virginia will spotlight females who are an integral part of Virginia agriculture in each episode.
Born and raised on her family's Pittsylvania County tobacco farm, Jamie Hodnett's love for agriculture was passed down from her grandfather and father. Earning her degree in crop and soil sciences from Virginia Tech in 2017, she eventually landed her current role with Nutrient Ag Solutions, an industry-leading crop input provider. A first-generation Hokie, Jamie's parents encouraged her to chase every moment. With a passion for helping people, she is focused on developing the next generation of leaders and servicing commercial customers from Virginia to New Jersey. Her rich farming heritage gave her the knowledge and determination to succeed in commercial agriculture sales. With expertise and empathy, Jamie is an advocate and strong supporter of production agriculture. We're proud to spotlight Jamie Hodnett as part of our International Year of the Woman Farmer series. With insects of all shapes and sizes throughout the garden, it can be hard to tell which ones are nice and which ones are not so nice. Ed Olson with Virginia Cooperative Extension shows us how to tell the difference from the ground up.
Today we're at the Carver Center in Culpeper, and we're talking with Ashley Appling, who's the horticulture agent housed here. So Ashley, today we're going to be talking about good bugs and bad bugs in the garden. Let's go ahead and start off with one of the bad ones, aphids. How can we tell when we're looking in our garden that we might have an aphid problem?
Aphids are usually hiding on the undersides of leaves. So it's usually, you'll see cast skins, so whitish skins might be falling down on the lower parts of the leaves. There's usually ants hanging around the aphids, as well as an overall shiny kind of appearance from the honeydew they excrete.
And aphids are a sucking insect, so they leave a substance behind. What's that called? And that's what the
honeydew.
And that's what the ants are looking for.
Yep, they're farming the ants, aphids actually, basically.
Is there anything that we can do to control aphids quickly in the garden while we might be out watering?
Oh, you could knock them off with a spray of water.
Okay.
That knocks them to the ground, and they'll probably have a hard time climbing back up.
So aphids can be hard to see because they are on the underside of the leaves, as you mentioned. Another one that might be hard for us to see are flea beetles. How might I know that I have flea beetles in my garden?
They are really tiny, so you're actually looking for evidence. So the leaves have a little bit of pinholes in the leaves, maybe a copperish kind of appearance, and they're usually hiding on the underside of the leaf.
Again, on the underside of the leaf. Where do they overwinter?
In the ground primarily. So they're going to come back up and onto the plants you plant there.
So we might want to make sure that we're rotating plants that may not be as favorable to flea beetles if we have a problem this year.
Yes, you will absolutely see them on eggplants. They also like all the relatives of eggplants, so tomatoes and peppers and mostly those kind of plants. Another
obvious pests that we see a lot in gardens are cabbage loopers. And what do they like to attack, and what are we looking for that?
As the name implies, they generally like cabbage. They also like kale and some of the other crucifers. So there'll be little holes in the leaves, not super appetizing when you see those holes.
And those caterpillars like to be on the underside also.
Yes,
but
they do.
Sometimes you get to see the caterpillar poop or frass on the leaves as a dead giveaway.
As they're eating along, they're pooping as well.
But one of the ways to control it is we can see behind us is a row cover. Can you tell us what the purpose of that is, and maybe how we would install that in a home garden?
Absolutely. Those are used for exclusion. So the moths flying around, they're looking for the cabbage or the kale, and they can't get to it. So you can use either metal pipes. We're using PVC pipes that are bent over to install the row cover on top.
And looks like there's some, it's secured along the base. Is that for keeping animals out of the bed, or do we want to make sure that we're doing a good job so the adult moths don't come up?
The moths mostly. I guess some animals, little rabbits could sneak in there as well, mostly for the moths.
We've talked a bit about some bad bugs. What about some good bugs? I'm noticing there's a lot of flowers throughout the garden. Do those help attract good bugs for your plants?
They do. That's one of the reasons you'd want to plant flowers out and about. They also give a pleasant appearance as well. But you have all kinds of bees and moths and butterflies come in from those flowers.
And that'll help our vegetable production by helping with pollination, right?
They do. You'll have a lot of squashes and peppers and tomatoes down the road.
Speaking of bees, and notice behind us that there's a native bee house. Is that another way to attract pollinators for your garden?
Yes, those are very good for the native bees and some of the bumblebees and some of the more solitary bees that are native to our area.
So not the honeybees?
Correct. You'll have to have a beekeeper nearby or your own beehive for that.
We're filming this in June, and right now we're getting a lot of emergence of Japanese beetles. Are they all Japanese beetles that we're seeing? And how can we see that they're causing a problem in our garden?
Not all of them are Japanese beetles. We do have Japanese beetles out and about. There's a larger June bug as well.
Okay.
It's a maybe twice as big as the Japanese beetle, more of a dullish kind of green-brown color. We also have some native good beetles out and about, especially if you have dog's bane in your vegetable garden. It's a relative of butterfly weed, so it has a similar flower if you're looking between the two species.
Typically lump them all together and call them a lot like June bugs, but they're emerging. So can you talk a little bit more about their life cycle?
Yes, they're the white grubs you might see out in your lawn.
Okay.
So they're eating the roots of the roots of your grasses, similar size, those little nasty little grubs you see out and about. So.
And it's a lot easier to treat the grubs than it is a flying insect too, isn't it?
It is. The adults are usually a lot more difficult to control.
Well, thank you so much for giving us some information about the good bugs and the bad bugs we might find in our home garden.
You're welcome.
For more information about bugs, contact your local extension office and talk to a master gardener. For From the Ground Up, I'm Ed Olson. See you next time.
Chef Tammy's sweet and spicy sauce for shrimp and pineapple is a summertime combo that's perfect for the grill. Learn how to make this delicious mouthful in the heart of the home.
Hi, I'm Chef Tammy Brawley from The Green Kitchen, and welcome to Heart of the Home. Today I'm going to show you a fantastic dip. I love doing this kind of as a poolside dip. It's great with already cooked cold shrimp, and what I discovered several years ago, it's also delicious on grilled pineapple. So we're going to do this. We're going to make the sauce and grill some pineapple. What I have here in my bowl to start with is a little bit of what's called sambal olique. It's kind of a Thai Vietnamese dish. It's almost like a thick sriracha. It can be found pretty much in any standard grocery store. And it's a little spicy, but we've got that in our bowl already. And to that, we're going to add some orange zest. And we're going to juice the oranges. And probably get about a tablespoon or two out of that. Do the other one. And one of the kickers that's in this particular recipe is actually agave or maple syrup. I'm going to whip that right in there. It's about a half a cup or so of agave. If you don't have quite a half a cup, which it looks like I probably do there, you can certainly add some maple syrup to that. That's not a problem at all. And then the last thing you want to add is actually a tablespoon of tomato paste. That's going to kind of give it a little thickness. And for those of you that get into a can of tomato paste and you only need 1 tablespoon, I'll give you a little hack. Take out a tablespoon at a time onto a piece of plastic and wrap that up with a tie or whatever and put it in your freezer. And then every time you need tomato paste, you can pull out a tablespoon at a time. It's a great little hack, and we do it all the time here in our kitchen. So we're going to leave the tomato paste over there, and now I'm going to add some green onions that I've already chopped. And we're just going to whisk this away here. You can see it's already starting to thicken up. And we've got some pre-cooked cold shrimp ready to go. And our burner is warming under our grill pan, and we're going to grill some pineapple. I'm going to do a little nonstick spray. And then while the pineapple is grilling, we will put together the sauce with the shrimp. Grilling fruit is absolutely delicious. I love to grill watermelon, believe it or not. That only takes a couple of seconds. But grilling any sort of fruit brings out the natural sweetness. I love doing this with grilled pineapple. So we'll let that go for a few minutes. Coming back to our shrimp dip, I'm going to show you a neat little trick here. You know, if you wanted to make a little fancy shrimp cocktail, you could get a little glass, a few shrimp, and you could cut the shrimp, not all the way through, but down on the belly a little bit. Put it on the glass. This glass looks a little too small for as many shrimp as I've got here, so we're just going to do a couple. And then you can take a small ladle and your sauce. Pour that into the glass. All right. I kind of call this not your mama's cocktail sauce. And there you have a neat little way of doing a shrimp cocktail. And then you could also put the sauce into a bowl. All right. And you can plate the shrimp on the platter around the sauce. And then you've got a great way of having a dipping sauce for your shrimp. One of my favorites to do is that. And now we're going to come back to our pineapple. You want to make sure you get that main core out of the pineapple. You really don't want to bite into something hard. Now I've turned them over and I see grill marks on one side. I'm going to go ahead and take some of this sauce. I'm going to start basting the pineapple. And these are just about ready. All right, got some nice beautiful grill marks on that. And your thicker pieces are going to take a few more minutes to cook, but they'll still be equally delicious if you take them off early. All right. And there you have it. We have a delicious sweet and spicy dipping sauce for your shrimp, which can also be put on grilled pineapple, and you can make these pretty little shrimp cocktails for your summer parties and poolside parties. I'm Chef Tammy Brawley from the Green Kitchen. Join us next time on Heart of the Home.
What better place to go this Independence Day than the home of the first English settlement in the New World? Mike Boyack has our county close-up bursting with American agricultural history.
Welcome to James City County, with rich farmlands, a coastline running along the James River, and the home to the first settlers who began farming this land in 1607. This area supports a diverse collection of farming operations with a mix of agrotourism, livestock, and crops, including forage, corn, and soybeans. Join us as we explore the agricultural past, present, and future of James City County. When the first English settlers landed on Jamestown Island, they quickly discovered that the land wasn't fertile enough for growing, so they moved all farming operations inland. And since 1619, what is known today as the M.O. Smith & Sons Dairy Farm has been continuously labored, making it the oldest dairy farm in America.
We are on what we classify ourselves as one of the oldest laboring farms here in America. It dates back to 1619. And they cleared 100 acres of land to grow food for the colony. And then they would take and put it in the boat and take it over to the island. For some reason or another, it just couldn't seem to grow any food on the island. This farm, as we said, the oldest laboring farm in America.
You don't last for over 400 years without having a strong relationship with the surrounding community. M.O. Smith & Sons Dairy has been working with the College of William and Mary and local schools to teach and show people where their food comes from. While many things have changed since the first settlers landed in Jamestown, but one thing still holds true on this dairy farm: you better be ready to work.
Sometimes I go 12, 15 hours a day because of the workload, you know. You have to be in it. If you're not in it, you won't do it.
From the past to the present, we head to Green Swamp Farm to meet Bruce Abbott and learn how modern farms are dealing with the growing population of James City County.
Most people know around this area is getting more difficult. Traffic is a big problem, having to travel, and you can't, I drive my tractors everywhere because time I unhook and haul, and I don't have hauling for my bigger tractors. I just get in them and go.
Along with the increase in people and traffic, rising input costs have become a major concern.
I've never seen this in my lifetime. I mean, I used to sell cows on the hoof for 65 cents a pound at the stockyard. The last ones I sold were anywhere from $3.50 to $4 a pound. Now, saying that, you say, well, you're going to make a lot of money. Well, on the cropland, hayland that I've got, I have spent close to $30,000 to put fertilizer and lime on it. I'm not getting my return right now, so prices in the cattle is helping me be able to pay for that fertilizer and lime. So, there's always challenges, but it's in this hand or on this one.
However, even with the challenges the farmers are facing, Mr. Abbott still has a love and passion for the work.
You do it for 60 years. It's just, when I was working in town, I would do my job in town. There was a computer. I worked for an engineering firm. And it was so great to get on the tractor and just go and see the beauty of the hay on the ground, rake it up and roll it up and see the cattle. Just like 2 days ago, I walked down the hill down here. Here's my next new calf. So, to see that stuff, it's just, it's been in my blood all my life.
My name is Vincent Gardy. I'm the president of the Williamsburg Community Growers. And here we're right in the middle of our community garden. So we're a nonprofit 503c, and we basically have two parts of our Williamsburg Community Growers. We have what you see right now, which is our community garden. And here we have about 130 families who rent gardening space from us, and they get to basically garden whatever they want. And then we have several acres beyond the fence here where a farmer cultivates a bunch of different crops. And with what we grow there, we use some of it for our weekly CSA, and the rest of it we donate to 2 local food banks here in Williamsburg.
With the increase in housing developments to the area, farmable land is quickly diminishing. The community garden provides the land and the opportunity to grow and harvest your own crops.
As the population grows in James City County, we see a lot of removal of farmland, right? And with that, we see a lot of high density housing being built. So those people don't have yards. They can really have gardens of their own. So having a space like this, we provide a opportunity for people that can't grow at their own house. So we love that we get this opportunity to turn it into something so productive where folks in the community can come, learn how to grow their own food, have a space to do it, and have a source to get locally grown produce.
The past, present, and future of agriculture are all here in James City County. For Real Virginia, I'm Mike Voyak.
We're so glad you could join us to celebrate all the bounty Virginia has to offer. From the kitchen to your home and garden to our beautiful wide open spaces, we're proud to say that this is Real Virginia. For everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a great week.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay.